We're back, guys. Welcome back to another edition of Bamcomixs. I'm your host, OC. Let's just jump right into it. And for those of you who are just starting to watch our channel, please hit that subscribe, hit that check. Those notifications are important. It helps you to find our videos, and it helps us to continue putting out the content that you all know and love. Guys, hit that subscribe, hit that notification. Let's beat the algorithm. Let's get to 100 subscribers. Let's push it, up those likes and those subscriptions, guys. Without your support, we can't do it. So thanks so much for joining, and let's just jump right into it now. Internationally known throughout the dome and the microphone, it's Wandavision. Our latest episode of Wandavision sees our heroes evolve past their usual characters into something more heroic now. So this is breaking the fourth wall, and I believe this is the 7th episode. So I was reading online, we got 2 more episodes left. So we finally see who's behind all of this treachery at the end of the episode. But let's just rewind a little bit. Opening this episode, we're in now the modern times. I feel like this opening was kind of like reminiscent to me of some of my favorites like The Office. Definitely big Office influence and Modern Family. So you see these awesome sitcoms like this show is paying homage to those. And so we get yet another brand new intro. And of course, with a brand new intro comes a brand new show and a brand new commercial. Let's get into it. Intentionally expanding the borders of this false world, you see. So now, like, the show takes a sort of that like interviewer approach, kind of like The Office a little bit, Modern Family, with like the characters speaking directly to the audience, breaking that fourth wall. So that's known as the immersion break, or like my good friend Deadpool likes to name it, the master break. Wall within a wall within a wall, breaking all of the walls. That's like 4 walls. And my man Deadpool likes to do that. So this episode was great in that the fact that, you know, the characters were speaking directly to the audience. They're mic'd up, and it's sort of an interview situation. And those types of scenarios are great for characters because it's like their little confessional box. It's like the reality TV show style that we have going on in WandaVision. Now, I don't know where they're going to take it from here, but we saw all of the incarnations of TV shows, and I'm hoping in the last 2 episodes we see straight like MCU, like Wanda Phase 4, like Marvel, like coming to its own. Of course, that when the episode opens after the intro, we have that 8 miles outside of Westview, S.W.O.R.D set up their base. You know, they're gonna launch something. Hayward is like, we're gonna launch something. Now, what it is they're gonna launch, I don't know what. But in the next episode, we're sure to find out. Vision wakes up, right, and sees Darcy, and it's a circus. Now, you gotta remember the last episode, Vision was like almost gonna die again. And if it were not for Wanda's expanding of the Hex, Vision would have clearly died. So it looks like Vision can't survive outside of there. He sees Darcy, of course it's a circus, and Vision is kind of asking Darcy for like help and trying to figure out, you know, how we can shut all of this down. Meanwhile, kids are asking Wanda, where's Dad? They want answers, but Wanda doesn't know. Wanda doesn't even know how how all of this started. Why is it happening? She doesn't know a lot, and the fact that the kids are looking to her for answers, she just admits that she just doesn't know. We see that Agnes pops up at that moment. Like, Agnes is always popping up at moments where Wanda starts to get a little bit self-aware of what's going on, which leads me to believe then that, you know, Wanda is not the main villain. Although it certainly seemed that way at the beginning of the series. Wanda looks like she's being mind controlled based on the fact that she keeps even admitting to Pietro, that's deep in her consciousness, all of this stuff that she's manifesting as she's talking to herself. How did this all start, right? So basically, every time that happens, Agnes pops up, and she sort of, what she does is that she takes the focus away from that, doubt and insecurity that Wanda has, and allows Wanda to continue living this vivid dream of her fantasies made reality. So she takes the kids, problem solved, and now what's going on is that we see Jimmy Woo and Monica Rambeau driving to their little base. Now, Darcy broke the firewall, so she already knows what Hayden's plan is, and his true plan, which is Operation Cataract. Now, I think that's what it's called now. According to this plan, the files that Darcy uncovers reveals that Hayden, of course, wants to use Vision as a weapon. Now, I don't know why you would want to do something like that, but he definitely wants to turn Vision into some sort of a military weapon, and he wants to track Vision. So, we know the true plan. And then when part of the squad, which I call Monica Rambeau and Jimmy Woo, when they land in their portion of their little base of the SHIELD headquarters and the sand, they unveil this armored Mars rover, which is this huge little mini truck that they use in space, which is a rover, but this is their best rover. She's exactly what I wanted. Monica Rambeau is looking at it, it's wow, okay, this is big shiny rover. Meanwhile, Viz meets up with Darcy, and they need to get back to Wanda. Wanda sees the change, right? Because now Wanda's by herself in the home, because of course Agnes took the kids away. So now that Wanda's by herself, she's seeing that everything around her is changing, and she can't control it. Everything is changing, the TV's changing, the surroundings are changing. It just speaks to the instability of what's going on. And it looks because so many people are interested in the Hex, outside of the Hex, SWORD, all of these, agencies involved in this, and the fact that these agencies are trying to break into the Hex, and Vision is becoming self-aware, and Wanda's questioning things. It seems the power structure that's keeping all of this reality afloat, and it's starting to crumble. The dome, the glitches in the Matrix and the tears in the armor are all revealing that the dome cannot withstand all of this energy that's being made, okay? And that's why there's lapses in judgment, where Vision, he could just fly, okay, right to Wanda's location. After the events of the last Halloween episode, right, he could have just in the Halloween episode he flew, right? So he could have just the next day when he found himself in the circus, he could have flown straight to Wanda. But I think it speaks to the hold that this dome energy has over everyone inside the Hex, that they can't really in their right mind do what they want to do. So that's why everyone is so distracted. And meanwhile, it's we get a Nexus commercial in the middle of all of this stuff. Now, I'm not really too familiar with Nexus and where they stand in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Nexus, maybe it's an agency. I have no idea what Nexus is. If you know what Nexus is, please leave us a comment in the comment section down below, guys. What is Nexus? How does Nexus tie into this? Because the Nexus commercial was you make your own reality. Those are the side effects, or the side effects of this is that you take charge of your destiny. Whatever's happening with Nexus, it is crazy, and I want to know more, guys. Please hit that like and link down below and comment on what is Nexus. All right. So after that, I took some notes, guys. I didn't want to, forget any details, because the show is packed with so much detail, and there's even more. There's people who really get into each little frame of it. But what I think is interesting is that when we see Monica in the spacesuit, back to the rover, and she tries to go through the hex. It's funny because she tries to go through the hex, and this thing is like so dense, right, that as you're going through this energy field, it's rewriting the molecular structure of anything that's going in it. And she decides to like ram a Mars space rover through there. She's like, yeah, it's gonna go through, it's gonna go through. Jimmy's telling her, oh, you gotta get out, you gotta get out. You're gonna get like wiped out or whatever by this energy field. She jumps out, and the hex, you know, takes this truck and it spits it out. It takes the rover, spits it out, man. And I laughed. You know, I thought that was so funny. It's like, dude, you really want to go in there? It took the whole truck and like the whole rover, it spit it out, and it became like a half truck, half rover. Like a half truck. So she gets out, and the first thing she's gonna do is she falls on her noggin. She gets up, dust is off her boots, and decides, you know what? I'm gonna run through the hex. So Monica just decides to run through the hex, and as she's running through the hex, she successfully manages to break the force field, or just go through the energy field, and then you see her transform. So it looks like now she's gonna have powers, right? It rewrites the structure, integrity, DNA. You know, she's coming out with like some purple hinged, like purple highlights in her eyes, right? Some like purple energy all around her. Okay, we cut to Darcy explaining the ending of the Infinity War to Vision, because Vision doesn't remember anything. He doesn't remember Infinity War. Of course, Vision doesn't know anything that happened before the events of the Infinity War or after. Now, as Darcy explains, like, she doesn't know why he can't leave the hex, because if he leaves, he starts to decompose. And they're trying to get to Wanda, but these roadblocks keep popping up in the middle of the road. And all the while, I'm thinking to myself, just your Vision, you can fly to Wanda, but again, I'm thinking maybe it's because of the power of this hex. Like, people are not like thinking clearly. So Vision, he's all mic'd up and he's giving an interview, and that's when he's like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Why am I giving an interview to you guys? I gotta get to Wanda. So he phases through the little circus truck that they've been traveling in, and he flies out. But now, as this happens, we cut back to, Wanda in Agnes' house. Now, the two boys early in the episode, they were petting a rabbit, a small little pet rabbit, and it looks like they were eating some peanut butter and jelly sandwiches or whatever. But Wanda's in the house because that is where Agnes took Wanda before they were after they were confronted by Monica, because when Monica passed through the energy field, she shot straight to Wanda's house, and that's where she confronted Wanda and says, listen, this whole thing is about Vision. She tries to explain to her that Sword actually wants Vision. She couldn't tell her that because, of course, Wanda was really angry. She was like you could tell, man, like she wanted to really hurt Monica. So I'm thinking, like, man, something's really happening wrong with Wanda, because she wouldn't do that. She's an Avenger, right? What was interesting in that scene was like Wanda, she uses her energy to lift up Monica, and as she tries to slam her down, Monica uses her own energy to sort of cushion the blow. So I think that speaks to the fact that we're gonna see her later on down the line have her own powers. But flashback to, or fast forward to now, Wanda's in Agnes's house, right? So she's looking around, she sees the pet rabbit, she sees the half-eaten peanut butter jelly sandwiches. Where are the kids? Where's Tommy? Where's Billy? She's looking around, of course, and then that's when Agnes lets her know, well, maybe they're playing in the basement. And as Wanda sees that something is not right in this house, like this house is like, kind of looks like death or whatever. She sees like a moth. She sees like, this rabbit, and it's looking pretty dark. So as she goes into the basement, we see the house starts to change, and the basement looks like the inside of like a cathedral, like of an old, looks like, it reminded me of the Sokovian Church in Age of Ultron. It had like these like arches, and I was like, man, this looks so crazy. What's gonna happen next? and all of a sudden it's revealed as she goes down into the basement. You see this crazy looking church with this, like, you see this book on an altar, like in the wall, like, and the energy, purple energy is coming out of it. Looks like all along Agnes was the one controlling everything. You see, it's Agnes, and she even has her own theme song. You know, Agnes, Agatha Harkness, which I read that, you know, after kind of just looking up who she was, that she first appeared in the pages of Fantastic Four. Later on, though, she's kind of like an obscure Marvel character. So I see that, you know, of course in the horrible video game as well, they're bringing back like some obscure characters, some characters that are really not well known. And so of course this character being Agatha Harkness, she's also has super powered type of supernatural type of powers akin to what Wanda has, but probably on a way larger scale. The fact that all of this is happening through Wanda and she can get manipulated in this way means that Agatha Harkness is a real force to be reckoned with, and she was always behind the scenes, always behind the curtain. And even when we find out at the end of the episode was that she was the one who killed the dog. You know, it's like, man, and she's evil. But I'm thinking that, you know, I'm thinking that she might be even working for someone even bigger in the shadows. Now, who it is, you know, I have my theories. Stay tuned for the next episode of our Bamcomixs review of Wandavision to find out what those are. Hint, I think it's Mephisto. But if you want to know more of that, guys, you got to tune into the next episode of Bamcomixs, where, you know, more will be revealed. Probably, but though, in the next episode, if they don't mention Mephisto, maybe he'll be saved for the last episode. I'm hoping it is. That's what it is. Just because, you know, so many things happened after the Infinity War. And then the blip, that there has to be more supernatural forces at work here. You know, so definitely, guys, my money is on Mephisto. Even if it's not, man, I hope that it would be, because Agatha Harkness is definitely, there's a villain quality there, but I don't see it like a, you know, something like a, you know, like a Magneto or a, you know, or Ultron, or of course a Thanos level threat. But Mephisto is definitely big in the Marvel Kingdom, in Marvel Universe, in the Marvel Comics, Mephisto. And, you know, this is kind of like spoiling it a little bit, but you know, not spoiling anything. It's just a theory, guys, that, you know, after, of course, Thanos did his snap, that all of those souls, half the universe, all of those souls, or maybe more than half of those souls that were lost in the snap, of course, went to the underworld, Mephisto's kingdom. And so, of course, Mephisto, who represents Lucifer and the devil, would love to have all of these souls, but upon the blip, Mephisto was robbed of all of those souls, because of course they returned to the earthly realm. So Mephisto is probably pretty, you know, angry at the fact that all of those souls were taken away from him once they went into the underworld after the result of the snap. The blip brought those back, and maybe Mephisto is using Agatha as sort of a conduit to manipulate Wanda, to try to get souls back into his dark kingdom. So guys, thanks again so much for your support, and make sure to hit that like and subscribe, and make sure to leave those comments below. Okay guys, thanks. This has been OC from Bamcomixs. Check you on the next one.